If you're tired of spending a little too much money on backpacking gear, well, I have assembled a list of 9 items that really pack a punch without breaking the bank. These are 9 items that cost less than $50 that I have started using in the last couple years and really enjoy, and thought you need to know about these things. All right, let's break it down, starting now. Before we go on any further on this list, I want to give a shout out and a thank you to Mystery Ranch. Mystery Ranch has been a sponsor of Backpacking TV for a long time, and they are a patron of what I do here. So they make amazing backpacks for hiking, day hiking, backpacking, hunting, whatever you got going on. If you need a quality backpack, check out mysteryranch.com, and let's get back to the list. The first thing on my list is this sweet hiking belt from Arcade. Now, I bought this kind of as an emergency right before I went and hiked 50 plus miles in the Grand Canyon, because I realized I had not packed my other belt, which was really just a general belt that I've used for years while backpacking. So I stopped by at a gear shop and picked up this belt for 32 bucks, and it's this really nice, stretchy, lightweight, very simple belt that you just buckle in and clip like that, and it is great. Honestly, the main reason why it's great is because it keeps your backpack comfortable on your hips. A lot of times when you're riding on an actual belt that maybe is a non-hiking belt, that belt will push into your hips and really create a very uncomfortable experience. Once you get it dialed into your actual hip size, you don't have to fish anything through loops, or you just buckle it up and it does a great job. When I actually made the switch to this belt, I was like, where has this been? I have been so needing a belt like this. So for 32 bucks, I feel like it's a great deal. It's comfortable and it appears to be durable. I've been using this for 6-7 months now, and I'm a big fan of it. Next up is one of the cheapest items on my list, and that is this little scraper from GSI. So a lot of people ask me, when I cook real food in the backcountry or make, meals that aren't just add boiling water to a meal, one of the big questions that always comes up is, how do you actually clean that pot? Well, one of the magical answers is just these simple little scrapers. For a couple of dollars, throw them in your pack. They weigh not much. I believe this has got to be about 1 ounce, so it's very minimal on the weight. Just after you finish your meal and you've got your pot, you can just add a little bit of water and just start scraping out those sides. And what I like to do, because I'm different than other people, is I'll drink the little bit of water and food particles that remain. But this is a little flexible piece over here and a little bit of a hard piece over here, and it just makes cleanup super simple. So if you are interested in backpacking with real food, get yourself one of these $6 little scrapers and you will thank me. Okay, keeping this train a-rolling, one of the best water filters that I've started using, or at least a personal favorite of mine, is the LIFESTRAW Peak Series Squeeze water filter. And this is actually the 650 ml version, but I do have the 1 liter version. And this one is $38. The 1 liter version is $44, I believe. And I'm honestly just a really big fan. The biggest reason why I prefer this one over the Katadyn Be Free or the Sawyer Squeeze is really just from the bag itself. So it's thicker, it's more durable. The Be Free, I've had a tendency to spring leaks with it, or little pinhole pricks, or just as you squeeze, it just starts to break down. So I like that this bag is way more durable than the other versions. Now, there have been some people who say that because the water has to come in here, and on the Be Free, the water can actually enter that filter all the way around, that's a problem with its design. Well, I get what they're saying. However, what I've found is all you gotta do is fold this thing up and the water will just sit in the bottom, and you can get almost every ounce out of this bag. So it really isn't a problem in my eyes. And for $44 this thing weighs just a couple ounces. I think it's 4 ounces, but I need to do a little pop-up check there for me on the actual ounces or grams of this thing, but it's very light, and I find it to be just one of the easiest filters to just throw in my pack and just make sure that I always have clean drinking water with me at all times. Next up is the BIOLITE 325 lumen headlamp. This thing weighs less than 2 ounces. That's right, my friends, 1.75 ounces. That's 50 grams for those of you who habla español. And it is just a really nice, great headlamp. One of my favorite things about the headlamp is just how comfortable and light and small of a low profile headlamp it is. So I love the band. It's very, very comfortable. And it really can kick out some good light. At 325 lumens, that's pretty bright. Now, it's not spotlight type bright. It's not going to be like a search and rescue type of headlamp. But for a very simple headlamp to throw in your pack for 2 to 3 night backpacking trips, it's great. Now, the runtime on this is 3 hours. That can be misleading. If you have it on full power for 3 hours, yep, it's gonna start to dim, degrade, and you're gonna lose that. It will still run for longer than the 3 hours, but at reduced capacity. Now, one of the things that I've found, or that, is just a concept of headlamps, is you can dim this down and your runtime is gonna go a lot farther. So 30 hours, 40 hours. You can get so much more out of your headlamp if you just dim it down. For the most part, unless you're navigating or doing some technical hiking at night, you don't need it at the full brightness. So if you're sitting around camp and you're cooking, or you're doing just kind of general camp life, or you're in your tent and you're reading or something like that, you don't need it at full 325. So hold that button, dim it down, and you're gonna get way more battery life out of this thing. This headlamp costs $49, so under that $50 mark, and I think it is a great deal. It's one of my favorite headlamps that I've ever used, and I just like its function system, the way that you navigate through the lights and the way that you can change things up, to me, is really intuitive. Next up is, to me, one of my most fun little items, and it's kind of obscure, but it is the FLATPACK Pro soap case from MATADOR. Now, MATADOR is a fun company. They make cool travel gear and backpacks and stuff like that, and some of their stuff comes really in handy for backpacking. So this is their little soap case, and what I like is that you can take biodegradable soaps back into the backcountry, wherever you're going to be needing soap, wherever you're going to be backpacking. But what happens is, with these bars of soap, is if you're just throwing them into a Ziploc, that bag gets utterly disgusting. It gets soapy. It gets that really weird, funky soap texture that kind of disintegrates your soap and falls apart. But what this does is actually got like a vapor barrier where moisture can actually get out of this little soap case. So when you throw in your wet, sudsy soap into here, roll it up, the water that's in there will slowly escape, and that soap will dry out, leaving a nice, clean, simple bag that isn't grimy, isn't disgusting, and you can save weight by taking a little hard case instead of, say, taking those little liquid bottles of Dr. Bronner's or whatever it might be, so that also can leak. This isn't gonna leak, and it's just a great little way to transport your soaps. So check that out from MATADOR. It's 14 bucks, the FLATPACK soap case from MATADOR. One of my little favorites. Next up is the UCO collapsible camp cup. Now, this is a little bit of an outdated version. I've had this one for years, and UCO has, I believe, since discontinued this exact model, but they have a slightly updated model with a lid on it, which actually is the model that I really want. So this collapsible cup is super light. I think it weighs 2 ounces. It's a very lightweight little cup, takes up very little room, but it's just a nice thing for me to drink my morning cup of coffee out of. So if you're looking for a quality backcountry cup for drinking coffee, drinking tea, whatever you want, it is a little bit of a luxury, and I just really like it. So check out UCO, the collapsible camp mug, and honestly, for 15 bucks, I am a big fan of this. I actually really prefer these over the kind of aluminum or tin, other lightweight cups, because those get really hot to the touch, and I actually like that this has this little lightweight handle, and it does a better thermal job while not being like double walled or insulated or any of that nonsense for backpacking. It just is going to keep my cup of coffee warm a little bit longer while keeping my hands from totally burning. So I am a fan of this guy. It's been a little while since I've talked about pillows on the channel, but pillows is something that I'm truly passionate about. I think every backpacker out there needs to have a pillow that they go backpacking with. It's one of the changes that I made a few years ago and was like, why did I not have backpacking pillows with me for the life of me? Yes, you can just stuff a down jacket into a t-shirt or something like that. Totally works. I've done that for years, but I noticed that when I started incorporating a pillow into my sleep system, my quality of sleep went up a lot, and it was well worth the, I believe, like 1.5 ounces that this pillow is. This is the AEROS ultralight pillow. Now, I've also really liked the down version, but this is their lightest weight version, and it's their least expensive version at 44 bucks. So I am a big fan. It takes up almost no room. Even this can compress a little bit further. It is dead light and it is very comfortable. So at $44, improving your sleep quality just has exponential other benefits on your backpacking experience. You're more refreshed, you can hike farther, you're more well rested, you just have a better time in the backcountry, all for a couple ounces. Okay, we're getting towards the end, but next up on my list is a great pair of hiking socks. And I have come across this company, Grip 6. They're wool socks that are made in Utah in the United States. They're $19, which is less expensive than a lot of the merino wool options from Darn Tough or Icebreaker or other versions that are like $25, $30, $35 for a pair of socks. At $19, these have been a great deal for me. This is a brand new pair that I just received, but I have put some of these Grip 6 socks through the freaking ringer, and they are still standing up, no wear and tear, no holes. I have a tendency to plow holes through almost all my socks, but not with these. These have stood the test of time for me. So I'm a big fan. And if you're unaware, a good pair of hiking socks is one of the biggest things that you can do to start off with, especially if you're a new hiker, new backpacker. You should absolutely not be hiking with cotton socks. They will destroy your feet and they are just not good. They're bad for water management, moisture management, sweat control, all those things. So a good pair of synthetic or wool hiking socks is, to me, a must-have, and these are some of my favorites I've ever used. So at $19, it's a great deal. Check out Grip 6 and get yourself a great pair of socks. Okay, my last item is something that I have talked about before on the channel, but I have really liked it. It is the PACKSACK Pro from HILLSOUND. Now, this is really just a way to organize everything, especially clothes, and for me, clothes plus camera equipment. Because I am a backpacker with somebody who hikes with cameras, what I have found is that this is a great way to ditch an actual camera bag. And I just put my clothes in here, and then I'll layer in lenses, battery packs, my actual camera, also memory cards. This becomes quite the good way to organize my backpack. You can see that it's got the shape of the actual backpack itself, so you don't waste room. And the other benefit is the PACKSACK Pro is waterproof. There is probably, when I say waterproof, that might not be to the literal T, because there is just the slightest little hole at the zipper here, so it's not going to be as secure as a dry bag. If you were to just throw this in a river, your stuff probably would eventually, water would find its way in. But the material itself is waterproof and the zipper is waterproof. You just have this one little spot where water could maybe get in. But it's light, it's cheap. They're like $32, I believe. And it's just a nice way to organize and increase some protection for your gear. That is my list of gear under 50 bucks that can really make a big difference in your backpacking trip. I hope that some of this was illuminating, especially that headlamp. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any pieces of gear that you are passionate about that are inexpensive, I'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. All right, thanks so much for watching. I'm Eric Hansen of Backpacking TV. I'll see you later.